Lesson 1. Why accept Bitcoin? If you have a business and you're asking yourself if you should accept Bitcoin, you want to take into account the advantages that the cryptocurrency offers. Firstly, the speed. When you deposit a check from another bank into your own, the bank will often hold that money for several days because it can't trust that the funds are really available. Similarly, international wire transfers can take a relatively long time. Bitcoin transactions, however, are generally far faster. Transactions can be instantaneous if there's zero confirmation transactions, meaning that the merchant takes on the risk of accepting a transaction that hasn't yet been confirmed by the Bitcoin blockchain. Or they can take around 10 minutes if a merchant requires the transaction to be confirmed. That is far faster than any interbank transfer. Secondly, it's cheaper than its alternatives. Instantaneous credit card transactions are very convenient, but one's merchant must pay for that privilege. Some merchants will charge a fee for debit card transactions too, as they have to pay a swipe fee for fulfilling them. Bitcoin transaction fees are minimal, or in some cases free. Then there's the notion that central governments can't take it away. During March of 2013, Cyprus's central bank wanted to take back uninsured deposits larger than $100,000 to help recapitalize itself, causing huge unrest in the local population. It originally wanted to take a percentage of deposits below that figure, eating directly into family savings. That can't happen with Bitcoin. Because the currency is decentralized, you own it. No central authority has control, and so a bank can't take it away from you. For those who find their trust in the traditional banking system unraveling, that's a big benefit. Moreover, there are no chargebacks. Once Bitcoins have been sent, they're gone. A person who has sent Bitcoins cannot try to retrieve them without the recipient's consent. This makes it difficult to commit the kind of fraud that we often see with credit cards, in which people make a purchase and then contact the credit card company to make a chargeback, effectively reversing the transaction. People can't steal your payment information from merchants. This is critical. Most online purchases today are made via credit cards, but in the 1920s and 30s, when the first precursors to credit cards appeared, the internet hadn't yet been conceived. Credit cards were never supposed to be used online and are insecure. Online forms require you to enter all your secret information, the credit card number, expiry date, and CSV number, into a web form. It's hard to think of a less secure way to do online business. This is why credit card numbers keep being stolen. Bitcoin transactions, however, don't require you to give up any secret information. Instead, they use two keys, a public key and a private one. Anyone can see the public key, which is actually your Bitcoin address, but your private key is secret. When you send a Bitcoin, you sign the transaction by combining your public and private keys together and applying a mathematical function to them. This creates a certificate that proves this transaction comes from you. As long as you don't do anything silly like publishing your private key for everyone to see, you're safe. Bitcoin isn't inflationary. The problem with regular fiat currency is that governments can print as much of it as they like, and they frequently do. If there are not enough US dollars to pay off the national debt, then the Federal Reserve can simply print more. If the economy is sputtering, then the government can take newly created money and inject it into the economy via a much publicized process known as quantitative easing. This causes the value of a currency to decrease. If you suddenly double the number of dollars in circulation, then that means there are $2 where before there was only one. Someone who had been selling a chocolate bar for $1 will have to double the price to make it worth the same as it was before, because $1 suddenly has only half its value. This is called inflation, and it causes the price of goods and services to increase. Inflation can be difficult to control and decrease people's buying power. Bitcoin was designed to have a maximum number of coins. Only 21 million will ever be created under the original specification. This means that after that, the number of Bitcoins won't grow, so inflation won't be a problem. In fact, deflation, where the price of goods and services falls, is more likely in the Bitcoin world. It's as private as you want it to be. Sometimes we don't want people knowing what we've purchased. Bitcoin is a relatively private currency. On the one hand, it's transparent, thanks to the blockchain. Everyone knows how much a particular Bitcoin address holds in transactions. They know where those transactions come from and where they're sent. On the other hand, unlike conventional bank accounts, no one knows who holds a particular Bitcoin address. It's like having a clear plastic wallet with no visible owner. Everyone can look inside it, but no one knows whose it is. However, it's worth pointing out that people who use Bitcoin unwisely, such as always using the same Bitcoin address or combining coins from multiple addresses into a single address, risk making it easier to identify them online. Hence, you don't need to trust anyone else. In a conventional banking system, you have to trust people to handle your money properly along the way. You have to trust the bank, for example. You might have to trust a third-party payment processor. You'll often have to trust the merchant too. These organizations demand important, sensitive pieces of information from you. Because Bitcoin is entirely decentralized, you don't need to trust anyone when using it. When you send a transaction, it's digitally signed and secure. An unknown miner will verify it, and then the transaction is completed. The merchant does not even need to know who you are, unless you've arranged to tell them. With Bitcoin, you really own it. There is no other electronic cash system in which your account isn't owned by someone else. Take PayPal, for example. If the company decides for some reason that your account has been misused, it has the power to freeze all of the assets held in the account without consulting you. It's then up to you to jump through whatever hoops are necessary to get it cleared so that you can access your funds. With Bitcoin, you own the private key and the corresponding public key that makes up a Bitcoin address. No one can take that away from you, unless you lose it yourself or host it with a web-based wallet service that loses it for you. With Bitcoin, you can create your own money. In spite of the amazing advances in home office color printing technology, most national governments take a fairly dim view of you producing your own money. With Bitcoin, however, it's encouraged. You can certainly buy Bitcoins on the open market, but you can also mine your own if you have enough computing power. After covering your initial investment in equipment and electricity, mining Bitcoins is simply a case of leaving the machine switched on and the software running. And who wouldn't like their computer to earn money while they sleep? This concludes our review of the advantages of Bitcoin.